susceptibility to radicalization. When a society cannot educate its children, it loses its capacity to govern itself or to develop economically or even to live in peace. When the classroom is replaced by the gun, as in the case in some insurgent-controlled areas in parts of the Northeast, when the school compound is replaced by or converted into the IDP camp, the very foundation of our future are eroding. The stakes, therefore, will not be any higher. This is not merely a crisis of access or infrastructure. It is a crisis of survival, a crisis of identity, and a crisis of sovereignty. And it is precisely because the crisis of our response must be equally both transformative, meaningful, and urgent. If we are to recover, we must do more than rehabilitate buildings or open closed schools. We must rethink the entire philosophy, purpose, and structure of education in northern Nigeria. Systems, values, and competencies must be passed on to the next generation to ensure both peace and prosperity. The answer cannot come from imported templates or bureaucratic routines. They must be rooted in the realities of our people, the richness of our tradition, and the complexities of the 21st century. In short, we need an education system that is both grounded and visionary, one that is deeply connected to our culture and history, yet forward-looking in its content and delivery. To rethink education in this context, a number of paradigms are considered essential. I'll just mention a few of them. First, we must shift our focus from merely enrolling children in school to ensuring that they learn meaningfully. It is no longer acceptable for a child to spend 6 or 9 years to go to school and remain unable to read or write. Second, in an age of insecurity, conventional schooling is often ineffective, so we have to introduce flexible models as has been proposed by the Ministry of Friends of Education. Third, because northern Nigeria is culturally, linguistically, and spiritually diverse, we must embrace this diversity rather than suppressing education to reflect and respect local languages, histories, and values. Fourth, we must move from government monopoly to shared governance if we are to rescue education. The Minister and Chairman of this bill has already alluded to this. The responsibility for education cannot rest on government alone. Families, traditional rulers, religious institutions, civil society organizations, the private sector, and the government partners all have roles to play. Fifth, we must prioritize the most vulnerable victims of miseducation or lack of education, that is girls, displaced children, children with disabilities, and those in nomadic or conflict-prone areas. Every child has a right to education, regardless of geography, religious persuasion, and youth. Across the globe, countries facing similar challenges like Afghanistan, Pakistan, Colombia, and Rwanda have succeeded in restructuring their educational system in the aftermath of conflict. Nigeria must do the same. Northern Nigeria in particular must lead this renaissance, not by creating foreign models, but by drawing from its own intellectual heritage, harnessing its community strength and embracing the tools of innovation, particularly the ICT. Northern Nigeria will receive backwardly compared with other regions of the country unless and until its leader comes to the decision to fix the existing broken education system that fails to address its very many problems and challenges. But to rethink education is not merely to adjust the curriculum or modernize infrastructure or even politicize some exaggerated, isolated cases of achievement in the sector. It it is to reclaim education as the soul of the society, a moral, cultural, and civic enterprise through which we shape our future. A community that allows the educational system to drift into despair and decay is invariably writing its own ignoble obituary. Now, a roadmap for revival. We've got two sections in this, and since the paper is going to be available. Having diagnosed the crisis and proposed the need for a new philosophical orientation, we may now articulate a practical and coherent roadmap for educational revival in northern Nigeria. A roadmap that not only acknowledges the gravity of our challenges, but also harnesses within our grasp. This roadmap is not a one-size-fits-all prescription. Rather, it is a multi-pronged framework designed to meet our people where they are, in communities scattered by conflict, in schools starved of resources, and in minds still eager to learn, each addressing a core domain of intervention. These pillars are drawn from the empirical evidence, historical insights, and the collective wisdom of educators, development partners, and local communities, and as they have been captured and documented by UBET, UNICEF, NDRPC, the World Bank Nigeria Office, and several communiques and resolutions from policy review committees and think tanks within government and civil society cycles. The presentation in this section is therefore a distillation of the most viable recommendations that may need to be considered to save education from imminent collapse in many states of northern Nigeria. Now, all the 7 of such pillars are identified. I will not read them. Number 1 is restoring the ruins. And a good case is a Borno State, where partnerships between the state government, UNICEF, and the subsequent initiatives have enabled the reconstruction of more than 50 schools and the re-enrollment of thousands of displaced children. This model I propose can be adapted and expanded across other affected states. The second pillar, learning from within, the first pillar, but I say a case important reform in teacher quality and accountability. It also laid a solid foundation for professionalizing teachers in the state schools, communities. The penultimate one is mobilizing moral authority, the need to invite rulers and so on to participate. And so when the North was effectively governed and controlled, our traditional rulers were not mere ceremonial figures. They were custodians of communal conscience to achieve the goals of Pillar 6. Some proposals are given, and just to point that the Sudan of Kokomo and some leading areas who have the response to condemn extremism and prevent accountability. And I say, Your Highness, Madam Chairman, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, these pillars are neither exhaustive nor utopian. I would be taught to think critically, wouldn't be easily radicalized. A guide who complete growth. We began by acknowledging the heavy burden that our region carries, the scars of insecurity, the setback of education, social dislocation that threaten the very fabric of our community. We have revisited, Madam Chairman, the children languishing in the IDP camp in Borno, Adamawa, Yobe, Katsina, and Benue, for example, will not remain children forever. The girls denied education today will become mothers tomorrow, and their circumstances will shape the destiny of another generation. The youth wandering in our towns and villages without direction or hope are fertile ground for recruitment into banditry or kidnapping gangs. But if rescued and educated, they can be the future engineers, scientists, jurists, and political leaders of our country. As leaders in government, in the university, in the mosque, in the market, in the palace, we must act today and now. Let this conversation not end as a ceremonial event, but as a covenant to make education the cornerstone of our collective rebirth. Let us resolve to build another Nigeria that is literate, secure, prosperous, and at peace with sustainable peace return to our region and our country. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Professor who attends this moderation. 30 and 7:30 p.m. So you have to know that he left based on that background. Mr. Ali Musa, Kuma Akum Vice Chancellor, Northwest University, Kano. Dr. Usman Umar Zangu, Deputy Provost, Sanitary College of Education, Kano.
Honorable Minister, Professor Suwaiba Ajibo Kulawa, our Vice Chancellor, Sulalali University, Kapil Hausa, Professor Muhammad Ibrahim Yalkasi, Professor Muhammad Ibrahim Yalkasi, and Vice Chancellor Usman Sankojo University, Sokoto, Professor Bashir Delma, Vice Chancellor Federal University, Kashmir, 200 naira 40 kobo, alongside the continuation of the construction of the Faculty of Science complex. Furthermore, the historic name of Northwest University, Kano, has restored, and the Garden College of Education and Advanced Studies was renamed to Yusuf Maitamasila College of Education and Advanced Studies, that as part of its effort to preserve heritage and elevate institutional identity. In the area of quality assurance, the government comprehensively funded accreditation 18,036 kobo, Kano State Polytechnic 72,346, Amin Kano College of Islamic and Legal Studies 69,213,000, Kano State College of Education and Preliminary Studies 56,359,346 naira. The administration also implemented new salary structure for staff of state-owned universities to improve productivity. Further demonstrating its commitment, the government facilitated the enactment of the private tertiary institution law to regulate and strengthen private higher education in the state to support work in the state. In a significant boost of human capital, 54 returning scholars who completed postgraduate studies in India were employed, and a total of 590 students out of the 3 to academic activities. Monthly overhead budget has been extended to all the state-owned tertiary institutions, ensuring regular operations. It was mentioned that the committee was inaugurated for the establishment of a new polytechnic at Gaya local government, marking another step in the expanding educational opportunities. Ladies and gentlemen, these far-reaching measures underscore a dedicated effort.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ali Bala, MLI, who spoke on the behalf of His Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Kano State. Thank you so very much. A round of applause for him, please. Mr. Chairperson, please. 1 minute to introduce people who come from far. I would like to Professor Bibi, Chancellor, Lagos State University of Education. Vice Chancellor, Alipadamot University of Science and Technology, Model. Members of the Governing Board of Northwest University, Kano. All principal officers, Northwest University, Kano. Thank you, sir. This juncture, permit me, Mr. Chairman Ma, Chairperson, to invite the Chairperson of the Convocation Lecture, Professor Hadiza Hafiz, to offer what counts on behalf of the members of the committee and the entire university community.
The Chairperson of the occasion, Professor Suwaiba Said Ahmed, the Honorable Minister of State for Education, the presenter, former Executive Secretary, National Universities Commission, Professor Abubakar Adamu Rashid, the Pro-Chancellor of Northwest University, His Excellency Professor Hafiz Abubakar, the Vice Chancellor of Northwest University, Kano, Professor Mokhtar Atiku Kurawa, invited visiting Vice Chancellors, Principal Officers, esteemed staff, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is my honor and privilege to stand before you to deliver the vote of thanks at this memorable pre-convocation lecture. First and foremost, on behalf of the university, we express our profound gratitude to His Excellency, the Governor of Kano State, Engineer Abba Kabir Yusuf. His commitment to education continues to inspire us all. Thank you for your support and for always standing with the academic community. We are also deeply honored by the presence of the Chairperson of the occasion, the Honorable Minister for Education, Professor Suwaiba Said Ahmed, who happened to be my daughter. With the cause, your leadership, for your steady support and encouragement. We don't have to wonder because Northwest has always been your baby. We also appreciate the Vice Chancellor, Professor Mokhtar Atiku Kurawa, for his unwavering dedication and commitment to not only the organization of this memorable occasion, but the overall advancement of our great institution. Will be coming to an end soon. We wish you Allah's blessing. Also, a special thanks to the entire management team and members of the Convocation Planning Committee for organizing this lecture so seamlessly. To our esteemed staff, students, and all guests present today, thank you for being part of this important academic tradition. A tradition, your participation gives life to our university community. And finally, to all who work behind the scenes, thank you for your dedication and service. May the wisdom shared today guide us and our graduating students as they step into the future with confidence and responsibility. Thank you all and God bless.
Thank you very much, Professor Hadiza Hafiz, the chairperson of this occasion. Let me also recognize Professor Farouk Sarifada, representative of the Vice Chancellor, Skyline University, Kano, Nigeria. Also, among us here, a very important personality that we can never forget within this university, Professor Mustafa Ahmed Isa, former Vice Chancellor of Northwest University, Kano. Also, we have in our midst Dr. Masoud Kazori, former Executive Secretary, National Board for Technical Education, MBTE, former Lieutenant Kazori. Also, former Rector, Hussein Adamu, Polytechnic Authority. Also, we have Professor A.T. Abdullahi, former on Kano State, former ES MBTE, former Rector Kadipoli, former Pro-Chancellor Kano Poly. We also have the Emir of Karai, Alhaji Mahamud Maras, Yeah, listen, sir, we are welcome. We are welcome. We are welcome. Thank you very much for your endurance. The last on the item on the agenda is the closing prayers by the chief minister. After closing prayer, we stand up for the national anthem. We are rushing the program because of Maghrib.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى ال محمد كما صليت على ابراهيم وعلى ال ابراهيم انك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى ال محمد كما باركت على ابراهيم وعلى ال ابراهيم انك حميد مجيد. Ini Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala godiya da muka farkon wannan taro lafiya ya samu gaba lafiya. Allah ya saka da alkhairi ga dukkanin wanda suka ba da gudunmawa, musamman manyan iyayen ƙasa mai martaba sarkin karaye da da shi a wannan guri, masu martaba sarakuna na lafiya da martaba sarkin lafiya na Nasarawa, honorable minister da aka ba da lokaci, manyan malamai na wannan ƙasa da wannan jiha baki daya, manyan malamai na wannan jami'a, gaban wannan jami'a ko bai samu karatu kurawa. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ya rubuta hannu, Allah ya kara jagoranci. Har yanzu muna kara addu'a wannan babban taro da yake fuskantar mu a gobe, Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala ya sa yi lafiya a gaba lafiya, Allah ya kara sanya albarka a cikin rayuwar mu baki daya. Allah ya mana jagoranci, shugabannin mu Allah ya kara rubuta hannayen su baki daya. اللهم انا نسالك الخير كله عاجله واجله ما علمنا منه وما لم نعلم ونعوذ بك من الشر كله عاجله واجله ما علمنا منه وما لم نعلم. سبحان ربك رب العزه عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين واخر دعوانا ان الحمد لله رب العالمين.
har an tashi go in yi indi